It's Wednesday, the 3rd of May 2023. A very good evening to you and warm welcome to Eswatini TV News at 8. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lindo Masugu, and standing with me tonight is Namakabeso Nkambule. Here are tonight's headlines. The Deputy Prime Minister has officially launched the National Determined Contribution Implementation Plan for Eswatini. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says priority sectors identified under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement in goods include agro-processing, with a major focus in agriculture value chains. The Luthango Lwakangwane says persons with disabilities must be included in special voting category for improved participation. Well, let's get straight into the news in detail. His Majesty King Mswati III has summoned regiments to convene at Eswatini Royal Residence on the 7th of May. The summoning of regiments was announced by Mthwalo Gina at Eswatini Royal Residence on behalf of His Majesty.
Uthongandaba emabutho akaphelele lapha esigodlweni elutsitsini mhla tisikhombisa enyangeni lesetulu ujuba ngenkomanzi kahoho ujuba ngeluthaka empumalanga ujuba ngeluthaka eshiselweni ujuba ngeluthaka entshonalanga nanga ke lamabutho inganyeti inyatsi umgadlela bokhololo usho njalo ke Mswati lomnyama kulabaluthuli ulodungandaba wasemambondweni sipha abantu ke Mswati siyephutha qiba Mswati ke khawula abantu nangemvimbeko uyatibona inhlokothi emaduna nembalati yaqunga uqunga wasequnga tabonyokwane kaZulu luhoho olufunga ngilabemuka ko wayethe unophakathi
The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masugu has officially launched the National Determined Contribution Implementation Plan for Eswatini. Masugu was represented by the Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, who said that the country needs 1.3 billion emalangeni to implement the plan starting from this year to 2030.
During the launch of the National Determined Contribution Implementation Plan, the Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masugu was represented by the Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati.
This project supports stronger linkages between climate change policy, the gender, and the budget process. In Eswatini, the Minister of Finance was provided support to create an architecture towards climate budget taking and coding, which is a tool for monitoring and tracking of climate-related expenditures in the national budget system.
The Minister of Finance, Rickenberg, hopes that the 44 officials that were trained on the Nationally Determined Contribution Implementation Plan will help Eswatini to set up the climate budget taking and coding in public budgets.
The climate dimension in tracking budgets and expenditure will be a very helpful development mechanism to ensure that climate-sensitive activities are recognized within the budget framework.
The Minister of Economic Planning and Development, Dr. Thambo Gena, is represented by the Ministry's Principal Secretary, Thapsile Mlangeni.
We are grateful that the NDC partnership has also confirmed support for the country to prepare a joint NDC and National Development Plan investment plan, and this will be ready by the end of this year. This will ensure that development is climate proof. I call on all stakeholders, including our development partners, to use this investment plan as a blueprint for funding and prioritizing future projects once it is finalized.
United Nations Resident Coordinator Joshua Chira appreciates the government of Eswatini for steps taken to save the universe. United Nations Development Programme UNDP Resident Representative Rose Bantindira says UNDP Climate Promise Fund pledges 8.6 million emalangeni to support the preliminary work towards the development of long-term low emissions development strategy for the country. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, with Vuminkosi Nzinisa Mpabane.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says priority sectors identified under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement in goods include agro-processing with a major focus in agriculture value chains such as fruit and vegetable products. The minister has been speaking during a sensitization workshop for parliamentarians in the trade agreement.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, in partnership with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, hosted a sensitization meeting for parliamentarians on the development of the Eswatini African Continental Free Trade Agreement implementation strategy. The Minister of Commerce, Mancoba Khumalo, said priority sectors identified under the trade in goods include agro-processing.
Priority sectors identified under trade in goods include agro-processing with a major focus in agriculture, value chain, fruits and vegetable processing, sugar value chains, clothing and textiles, handicraft, leather and leather products, as well as looking at automotive and pharmaceutical industry value chains that have been suggested for further development.
UNECA Southern Africa Director Eunice Kamwendo uploaded the Kingdom of Eswatini on the strategy.
The success of the strategy will largely depend on whether we have the targeted stakeholders ready to take full advantage of the AfCFTA.
Senate Deputy President Ndumiso Mdluli said a lot can be gained from engaging Parliament on the strategy.
The members of Parliament and senators are responsible for legislation, but are also well versed in issues of trade, because they engage in cross-border trade in various capacities and are business owners. Therefore, there is a lot that can be gained from engaging the senators and members of Parliament on the strategy.
The AfCFTA promises broader and deeper economic integration and will attract investment, reduce poverty, and increase shared prosperity in Africa. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Swekoza with Muslim Konta and Giani Msibi Eswatini.
The Minister of Labour and Social Security, Philip Telezi, has officially commissioned the Labour Advisory Board. The Minister has urged the board members to work tirelessly and always consult from the parties they are representing before taking crucial decisions.
According to the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Philip Telezi, the Labour Advisory Board will be in office for the next 3 years, having started on January 2023.
We therefore urge you to take this responsibility as a national service and your contribution to nation building and social cohesion. Strengthened and optimal relations within the board will surely cascade to the benefit of Mswati and the country at large. Strong social partnerships translate to advantages such as an improved standard of living, better conditions of employment, a more robust economy, ultimately the attainment of decent work for all.
The Labour Advisory Board chairperson is the Minister of Labour and Social Security Labour Commissioner Mthunzi Shabangu. Shabangu says the board will ensure that all members of the board actively participate in all engagement of the board. He says members of the National Steering Committee will assist in implementation.
Sabuka lokuthi lama alternate members angasebenta kulokuba ngilama members ale steering committee to drive implementation of the decent work country program. Sharing. Kuze kuthi emalunga onke le board njengoba wabusisala mhla angathi khanzi agcina mzuku wa commissioner aze ayophinze futhi awukhanze ukuthi kuhlala kwawo kutaba once in a year sharing, because the substantive member maybe is always available sharing.
The board is made of individuals who represent employers, employees, as well as the government. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla Sandla.
The Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, Harris Bulunga, has launched a European Union Delegation Youth Sounding Board. EU Ambassador to Eswatini, Desislava Chomelova, says the Youth Sounding Board is an important step towards a more youth-targeted approach in promoting youth development.
The Sounding or Advisory Youth Board consists of 15 members from all the country's 4 regions. Speaking during the launch, the Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, Harris Bulunga, said this initiative is a significant milestone in empowering the youth of the Kingdom of Eswatini.
This is in line with the aspiration of the Eswatini National Youth Policy of 2020, which is a comprehensive framework that aims to create an empowered generation of young Mswati for Vision 22 and beyond. With over 70% of the total population in Eswatini being under the age of 35 years, the Eswatini National Youth Policy demonstrates the commitment of His Majesty's government to the development, the well-being and empowerment of our youth.
EU Ambassador to Eswatini, Desislava Chumelova, said the board is key to the promotion of partnership between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the European Union.
You should not have a vested interest, apart from the interest of supporting our work and the action of the European Union in the country to make sure that all young people in the country benefit.
The advisory board duties will be ending in 2025. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Swekoza with Giyani Msibi Eswatini.
The Luthango Lwakangwane says persons with disabilities must be included in the special voting category for improved participation. The Luthango has been speaking in Parliament when making submissions before the Ministry of Justice Portfolio Committee on the Electoral Amendment Bill of 2023.
The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs Portfolio Committee at the House of Assembly has started a stakeholder engagement meeting on 2 elections bills, which is the Electoral Amendment Bill and the Voters Registration Bill of 2023. The Luthango Lwakangwane, in collaboration with the Department of Gender and Family Issues from the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, made their submissions on the 2 bills.
Sikhulumile ukuthi ufuna ukuthi ngabe kunebantu ababasitako njengalo ngaboni nje emehlweni ukhona lo mthonsa uma sebaya lapha eboxing lining labo ukhanza ukuthi abakhona ukudla and sekukhulu ku-presiding officer ukuthi ngakhona kuyomkhethela lapha eboxing ngoba ngiko sigcine saphuma ne-solution lethi abangene ka-special voting kube naleli bhokisi ngalelo langa bete nalolo lotanabo angathi-ke ukuthi kutabe bathike njani ngoba labanye kababoni.
Siphinde saqhubeka kusahluko section 13 lapho khona ibill beproposa deleting the subsection 2 and 3 and replacing them with a new subsection lebese iyafunzeka lapha ngaphansi. Nakhona lapho ithi ibuke ivete nje ukuthi mhlawumbe how often will the voters register be checked? Tawuhluleka emva kwesikhathi lesingakanani singathi check mhlambe singathi i-verification ithanze nje kwaba kube ngumbuto nje ukuthi ingabe
Chairperson of the committee, who's also the Kwaluseni Member of Parliament, Sibusiso Dlamini, welcomed the submissions.
We want to assure Luthango ukuthi itawusebenta ibe ne-direction le-clear. Njengoba nisho nje ukuthi kukhona tinto leti bese umuntu uti-interpreta ngalenye indlela. So setenda lo mthetho wethu ube nemjeje.
The committee is expected to resume with the engagements on Thursday. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Swekoza with Muslim Konta, Parliament.
The acting principal secretary in the Ministry of Commerce, Tebile Nhlabati, has encouraged small and medium enterprises to tap into export trade and be export competitive. She was speaking at the Royal Villas on Wednesday when officially opening the Commerce Business Council workshop on African Trade Observatory.
Injongo mhlangano kuvunulisana nekushelana ligwayi ngamathuba emakethe lakhona eAfrika lakangasebenziswa bosomabhizinisi labancane nalabasemkhathini ekuthengiseni basathengisa umkhiqizo wabo ngaphandle. The main aim of the workshop is to share ideas on how SMEs can be export competitive in their products. The acting principal secretary in the Ministry of Commerce, Tebile Nhlabati, says she hopes that SMEs will benefit out of the training.
The objective of this very important workshop is to empower businesses with the key market information required for them to identify and compare emerging opportunities across the African continent. The African Trade Observatory has produced modules which provides a range of real-time indicators on trade flows, utilization of after-tariff preferences, tax revenues, clearance time and trade simulations, thereby facilitating the evaluation of the implementation process and impact of the after.
The business Eswatini CEO Nati Dlamini says out of the training, the private sector will gain market insights and which market to explore and the products they will venture into.
Sibathathele isikhathi sibede la kuto equipha bosomabhizinisi balapha ekhaya kuthi hey nayi phela iAfrica yavuleka nyalo itane ma opportunities kepha phela itane elinye tingoti sicela ke bayatela lapha nje batosijimisa ukuthi sicale ukujima kuthi nakasevele icala na i-free trade area se-Africa ukhanza ukuthi bosomabhizinisi bethu seba-equipped.
Hopewell Musundire, the Business Development and Participants Manager in the COMESA Business Council, says they want to break barriers that are there in export trade.
What we are trying to achieve is to break barriers of small to medium enterprises so that they are able to export their products to the region and also participate in global value chains.
This will be a 3-day training. Reporting I am Kian MCB at the Royal Villas Ezulwini.
The 1 Billion Rising Campaign Director Xulan Hlajwago says they are now seeing the impact that the project is having in communities after empowering girls and women on business. The 1 Billion Rising empowered girls at Ngonini on business and its sustainability.
We are continuing to engage with communities through the community circles, and we have additional communities that are starting their businesses. And as I speak, we visited quite a number of communities. We're just from Ngonini, and the women of Ngonini made it clear that whatever empowerment that they are getting, they want to ensure that the young women, they also benefit out of that. And in the businesses, they ensure that they include young women to be part of the income generating project that they are doing. And their focus is also ensuring that women and young women are empowered on leadership, because they strongly believe that if women are empowered on leadership, they'll be able to tackle any challenges that they can face, because they will have confidence. They'll be also able to make informed decisions in their lives. And it's not only engaging with Ngonini. We have seen how in the other communities, how women want to make sure that whatever products that they make or whatever business that they start, they want to ensure that it benefits the entire community. At Ndondo's, the women were clear that they want to start goat farming, but want to open job opportunities for young women and young men. And that's a great thing, which shows that if you empower a woman, you are actually changing the entire community. You are actually improving the whole country. And that has been clear through what we are getting from the conversation we're having with the women.
All right, now let's take a look at the financial indicators. And now into your sports roundup. The MTN Premier League title race is now a 2-horse race between log leaders Green Mamba and Young Buffaloes, following Young Buffaloes' win against Green Mamba today. The homicide overcame Green Mamba by a solitary goal at King Sopuza II Memorial Memorial Park. Green Mamba is still in position 1 with 55 points, and in second place is Young Buffaloes with 54 points.
And in our sports roundup, we'll begin with the MTN Premier League that has now taken a different twist after log leaders Green Mamba were defeated by second on the log Young Buffaloes in a replay game that took place at the King Sobuza Memorial II in Hlangano, thanks to Sandile Gamedze's goal in the second half. The match was replayed as a result of rain conditions that interrupted the game on Saturday in Hlome. Green Mamba are now 55 points and are left with 2 games against Red Leopards and Denver Sundowns, while second Young Buffaloes are 54 points and are left with Matlenya and already relegated Tabangulu Kedis. In other sporting news, Manzini Wanderers chairperson of the management committee, Bongani Banyaza Mlori, says club supporters will play a big role in restoring the team's financial status by buying the club's shares next season. Mlori says this is to avoid what occurred at the club in this season, where it was left hanging financially and was on the verge of being relegated.
Way forward very simple, Fabrice. Sike sakhuluma kaningi kuma supporters eManzini Wanderers ukuthi iManzini Wanderers konke kusetandleni tayo ema stakeholders eManzini Wanderers, being supporters and all the structures, ukuthi let us make use of inzaba yema-shares. Right now sitabe siphumlile, sitabe vele si-engage ku vigorous campaign yokuthi bantu beManzini Wanderers or supporters eManzini Wanderers understand lokuthi i-success yale team ilakibo. Kude umuntu lesiphela kumgadza ukuthi esikhathe ukuthi kutaba na director akasikhanze nangabe uyafika nayo utafika athenga ama-shares like any other supporter, athenga ama-shares, nakathenga lamaningi, then he or she becomes the chairperson of the team and runs the team according to wishes akhe as the major shareholder ye team. So team le iManzini Wanderers, it's a company and it has to be run professionally. Hayi ngelokurana team ngalendlela ukuthi sigathe someone ukuthi ufike someone lot afike afake imali. It's so difficult. Sesikubonile sekusendekele kuManzini Wanderers 2 times lapho khona sisina director ashiye endleleni. The recent incident le sibekiyo nje lena ngiyona le funa ngabe sesifunza sifundo sesithuke ukuthi nasithi sisicalile anyamalale director and now sesengilapho khona sesiphinde sesihlanganisa inhlo kanzinyalo. Structure sethu si very simple, that 10,000 shares at 500 emalangeni. That's a simple 5 million emalangeni, within which le mali leyo imali lesingasithatha ngayo isizini without any problem.
And in our international news, we give focus to the English Premiership, where Arsenal are back at the summit after their 3-1 victory against Chelsea. Arsenal are now 78 points and have played 34 games. Manchester City could go back to the top of the log if they are to defeat West Ham, as they are now 67 points in 32 games played. In another game, Liverpool will play Fulham. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
And that's how we reach the end of tonight's bulletin. But before we leave you, here is a reminder of tonight's headlines. The Deputy Prime Minister has officially launched the National Determined Contribution Implementation Plan for Eswatini. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade says priority sectors identified under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement in goods include agro-processing, with a major focus in agriculture value chains. The Luthango Lwakangwane says persons with disabilities must be included in special voting category for improved participation. All right, that's all the news we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the weather update. From all of us here at the Eswatini TV News team, it's good night.
Eswana lalela nizaba bengosini Eswana uthongandaba emabutho akaphelele lapha esigodlweni elutsitsini mhla 7 enyangeni lese